Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic. It is time to talk about how Exilis, my 150 grand mammoth style lifter, did at ARC's June meet. Now, apologies for this video being a little bit late. I was sick last week and was unable to basically do anything, so that's why this is coming out when it is. But anyway, we're going to jump on into some fights with Exilis. Now, Exilis was supposed to have some extra arms jutting out the sides to stop it from falling over on its side, essentially, and getting stuck, because we saw that in the last meet. But I didn't have time to do that, unfortunately. I tried at the event, and the hot glue that I used did not set in time, so it basically fell off as I was putting Exilis into the arena. And yeah, so I just ripped it off entirely and did not use it for the first fight, or any fight for that matter. Speaking of the first fight, it was up against Lone Wolf, a four-wheel drive kind of scoopy robot. I love fighting scoops with Exilis. They are perfect, especially scoops like Lone Wolf and Killdozer, who, spoiler alert, is coming up very soon. I love fighting these robots because the scoop is perfect for Exilis. I can jam the weapon into the scoop and throw them over, and when I do throw them over, they're still able to drive, which basically means I get as much time as I can to chase them around and throw them around a bit and just practice and have a bit of fun with Exilis throwing robots around. It is great. I love that to pieces. And this fight, I would have normally knocked him off the wall when he got hung up. However, the lone bot that I run at these events, Stealth had an issue in which one of the wheels had come off, and I needed to get that fixed because Stealth was going in, I think, immediately after my fight or the fight after that, so it was a case of there was a quick turnaround here. So as much as I really wanted to knock him down off the wall and keep that fight going for a little bit longer, even if it meant taking a draw, I was happy to do that, but I did need to dedicate just a little bit of time to get the robot that I had loaned out to someone up and running so that they could fight for the day. So of course I turned around and did that, but that was fun. It was still a good fun fight. And speaking of good fun fights, the next fight up is against Killdozer, who, as I said, was going to be around soon, and that is right now. The great thing about this fight is the last fight we had against Killdozer, we won against Killdozer by removing one track and then using the other track to lift them into the pit. This time round, unlike me, they changed the robot design up. They came in with some extra paneling down their tracks to try and stop me from removing those tracks. So this whole being forced over on our side thing is a real killer. We really do need to do something about that. And honestly, I don't know that I'm going to do it with Exilis in its current form. I might make a whole new version of Exilis which is fully 3D printed so that I can release the designs, because I love fighting this robot and I really, really want other people out there to be able to fight this robot as well. And it's fights like this and with the Lone Wolf fight as well that are the reason I love fighting Exilis. It is just great fun to be running a weird, wacky flipper against a robot that you really can't flip all that well, and you're going for the 101 shot flip to try and get something interesting to happen. And it almost very nearly did in this fight. This fight was the closest Exilis has been to fulfilling the design brief goal that I had for this robot, which was to lift somebody over the wall and dump them in the other side. We got this close. We got them up to that height and planted the tracks on top of the beam that separates the two arenas there. And it was just the fact that they had tracks. If they didn't have tracks, if that was a wheel on the back there, we would have got them to the point that the wheel would have been on the other side of the arena, in the other arena, and actually had a better chance to knock them through there. But because they had tracks, they managed to drive themselves back into the arena. That was an awesome moment. I was pumped about that. I was so happy. I was not fully, because we've been running this robot for a little bit now, I was never expecting that to be the case. And so to have that come out and be a thing that happened, I was just like, yes! Oh my God. I was over the moon, ecstatic with that. And I really, really like the Killdozer fights. Obviously, their wheel guards did an amazing job, or their track guards did an amazing job of keeping me out of the tracks. I hit the track once, I think, and instead of actually being able to lift the track off, Exilis face planted, which was interesting and not something I expected to see. Then the second time we hooked into them and face planted, we face planted and then fell sideways, which of course lost us the fight, which is not good. But that one was a really, really fun fight. So I don't mind that I lost it. I really don't. It was just fun at the end of the day. It was just fun. Next up, we have Plover, which is a red wedgie lone bot. Yeah, so that being on the side issue, we need to fix that. And then, the interesting thing is that one side is worse than the other. One side we can't drive, and the other side we can. In the Killdozer fight, we could drive around a little bit. In this one, we really couldn't do much. So, it was a pretty short fight, and we got unlucky because, of course, Plover is a decent wedge, and of course, without having a scoop on the front, there's not really a lot I could grab, so going face to face is not a good strategy. But unfortunately, I did that, and I did that one too many times and fell over. Them's the breaks. So at this point, we are 1 win and 2 losses. Things are not looking good, and our final opponent here is Hiccup, which is a robot built by Steve. It is a blip style flipper done with a YOLO drive rather than with a clutch.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so that was silly of me. And also, Steve was not having a good fight. What I didn't show is that the fight did actually start once before that. We started the fight, and then the other side pit had an issue where the fight started and the robot didn't move because somebody didn't do the Twitch checking properly. And so the first fight lasted like 25 seconds, and inside that time, or even 10 seconds, inside that time, I'd managed to flip Hiccup up onto its back and get Steve stuck there. But then of course, because the other pit had to be opened up, both fights were just cancelled and restarted from the beginning because we're using one timer for both arenas that are running at the same time, which I was fine with. I was like, well, you know, like it was 10 seconds in, I was gonna let you down again anyway, so whatever. And then of course, immediately, essentially going into the fight proper, I flip him again and get him stuck again. And this time though, I managed to get him up against the wall. Now, if I'd left him there, there was more than 10 seconds of being immobile, but I kept touching him. And our rules are every time you engage, the timer resets. The reason I kept touching him was because I wanted to throw him over the wall. I had seen how close I got with Killdozer, and I was like, this is it, this is my chance. He's up against the wall, he's a good shape, there's a lot of stuff for me to grab there. I can do this. I couldn't do this. I got close. I actually did get a decent lift on him there. The problem with that decent lift is that as I lifted him up and he fell back down, I kind of like that jolted the position that I was in. And as I backed out of that lift, because the thing that I think I need to do is I need to lift and back up all at the same time, which is a very careful balance. You don't want to back up too far or you drop the lift entirely. And in this case, I backed up too far too fast when he fell, and I got a wheel, just one wheel, caught on the edge of the pit, which sucks. Because essentially I should have won that fight, but because I decided to have fun with it, I didn't win that fight. But hey, look, we were on a bad record anyway. We weren't getting through the finals, so why not have a bit of fun with it? And to Steve's credit, even though my wheel was in the pit like that, he did come back and he did actually try and free me, which is why you see him kind of come around the front and try and push from the front rather than just pushing me from the side into the pit, because he was actually trying to get me out of there. It's just the case of like the way everything was touching the ground, even doing what he did, all it did was just tilt the whole robot back into the pit, and you know, that's what happens. Okay, with that, we are out of round robin stuff, and it is time to talk about the thing that you saw a brief glimpse of at the very beginning, the rumble. But this time, rather than having the rumble across the entire Beetle Arena, or even half the Beetle Arena, we've done it in one corner, in one of the Antweight arenas. This is madness. And fun madness. That was great. That type of rumble is just insane, where there's just so much stuff going on all the time. You're basically like, cool, I'm fighting this person, and then you disengage from them and you turn around and you fight somebody else immediately, because as soon as you like even break from another robot, there's 4 more on top of you. You're like, ah, God, who am I fighting at this point? Insanity. Awesome. Loved it to pieces. It was so good. We did manage to do some really cool things. We managed to get Killdozer up on the actual dozer scoop and then knock them back down again. We also had a purple huggy robot, and I cannot remember the name of this thing for the life of me, but we had a nice little kind of back and forth at the start there, where they grabbed me and were trying to get me into the pit, and then I did a little reversal and had them almost over the pit as well. That was a lot of fun. I love little bits and pieces like that. So good. Also, we got the good fall over and we fell over on the side where we could still drive, which is great because that meant technically I was still in at the end of the fight, technically speaking, despite the fact that, you know, I was running on one wheel. That was enough, realistically, for me to still be in that fight and still be alive. Although, you know, there is no winner in a rumble, realistically, and there's no prizes or anything handed out for rumbles. They are just a whole lot of fun. Yeah, so that is Exilis. That is how this went at ARC's June meet. Now, Exilis will continue on. This particular frame will continue on to Robot Havoc this year, but after Robot Havoc, I think I will actually do a brand new version of Exilis with fully 3D printed parts so that you guys out there can build an Exilis of your own, because these guys are just fun. Anyway, that is going to be it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed that one, and I will see you in the next video.